Okay, let's go through the final stage of the swing then, which is the release. What I want you to do with all the videos that I've gone through is please have a look in the description, because there's some links in there with some really useful information, and also the description of each video and things that you're looking out for in that particular part of the swing. So now we're going to look at this release position. So what is the release? So the release is basically the uncocking of the wrist. We created this angle here at the top of the swing, and then we maintained it on the way down. We maintained it by shifting the pelvis forward and also pulling the grip end of the club down. So that helped us maintain this angle here, and some people refer to it as lag, the lag angle, and all it means is the club head lags behind the hand on the way down. So the release is the unhinging of the wrists, which is releasing that club head. It's going to do a couple of things. It's going to accelerate the club head, number one, and then number two, the most important thing, it's going to square the club face up on the ball, and it's going to do it without any manipulation. You know, if we've done everything right in all the previous videos, we're pretty much going to be freewheeling on the way through. The biggest mistake people make when they're getting into this position is they keep accelerating the hands on the way through. So when we look at the hands and the actual speed that they're actually traveling, what we're going to notice, let's see where it is now. So it's the grip speed that we're looking at. There it is. So if we look at the grip speed, keep your eye on that figure there. It's been slowing down, you know, because it maxed out at around 23 mile an hour about here, and then from that point on it's gradually started to come down to the release point, and then it continues to slow down right up on impact. So the hands are actually decelerating as you're coming into the ball, and then the club head is accelerating. The problem a lot of you are going to be faced with is you keep accelerating the hands and arms too long, so you keep on pushing the grip end of the club through, and then the club head never releases, or it does release, but you end up flipping it too late. So we've got to get that release better. We've got to get it hands and arms slowing down so you can actually release the club head. And when I show you in a minute when we go outside, I've got some good drills called the stopper drills, which will actually get your arms to slow down and actually release that club a little bit better. And it's also the real key to unloading the shaft on the GForce swing trainer, because if you keep accelerating the grip too much and your arms, the shaft won't unload, so the face will always come in open, you'll always miss to the right. So when you try these stopper drills, you'll actually unload the shaft, because in transition on the downswing I talked about how the shaft loads up, and then we maintain that load as we pull the club down, and then as the hands and arms slow down, the shaft unloads, and that's what squares the face up of the GForce swing trainer, and also your clubs as well. So you want to be doing the same drills with your clubs as you do with the GForce swing trainer, and always alternate between clubs as well. If you're using the swing trainer, it's best to hit, say, 3 balls with the swing trainer, and then put it down, get your 7 on, and then hit 3 balls with your club as well, because you've got to transfer that feeling from the swing trainer into your normal golf club. That's the most important thing. Alright, so what releases this club? Okay, so that we know the wrists are going to be unhinging. We're not trying to hold that angle there, you know, don't hold on to it, you've got to let it go. Okay, the release is happening because the left side of the body here, the left knee, left hip, left shoulder is extending upward, and it's that extending upward motion that causes the club head to swing down. So you'll notice a lot of really good players on impact how their left leg, it pretty much locks out. You see a lot of them snapping that leg as they come through the ball, you know, locking it out, and that really helps clear the hips as well. So the hips are going to clear a lot better if that left leg is actually extending up and straightening out a little bit more. So that's what's releasing that club. The left side is extending up. Also with the shoulders it's the opposite of the backswing. So on the backswing, the left shoulder was rotating and pointing down, and then on the through swing, it's the opposite. The right shoulder, as it rotates, points down as it goes through. And again, that just sort of maintains that spine angle, so your contact on the ball is going to be a lot more consistent. And that's what we want, because if we can get that contact if we can get the effortless clubhead speed, which is really the number one thing that you want to try and achieve, and then get the contact on the golf ball, you've got the two most important things that you're ever going to need to play great golf and enjoyable golf, because there's nothing better than hitting the ball solid at the middle of the club face with loads and loads of effortless clubhead speed. If you haven't got clubhead speed, there's issues in your setup, and your swing that you need to look at and go through these videos just to improve on those first. Get that effortless clubhead speed, and then strike the ball, and you can have a great time playing golf. So that left side extends up. He's pulling up on the grip end of the golf club. So let me just show you what I mean by that. So we can see here, this is the hand, this is the sort of the hand path. That's the path the hands are traveling as they go through the ball, and you can see as he gets to the ball, he's starting to pull up on the grip there as he goes through. And you'll see that in my swing in a minute when we go outside. You'll see when I follow through, it looks like when I get down to that golf ball, at that point there, I do feel like I'm pulling the club right up as I go through, like cracking a whip. And it's that pulling up action that forces the club head to swing down in the opposite direction, and it helps create tension through the GForce shaft, because as the club head is swinging downwards and I'm pulling the club up in the opposite direction, we're just pulling the shaft really tight, so there's lots of tension in there. And then as I'm pulling up on the club and it's releasing and my hands are slowing down as the club head releases, the shaft of the GForce swing trainer is also unloading and creating more clubhead speed and energy into the ball and square in the face at the same time. So these are the key points that you're looking for with the release. We've maintained everything on the way down. The left side has started to extend up, which is going to help the left hip clear out the way. The arms are staying nice and connected. The right elbow is tucking into the right side, so we've got the ice skater sort of position with the arms tucked in, which is going to help the hips clear a lot quicker, and it's then going to pave the way for the arms to extend through the ball, because those hips have got to get out of the way, and the only way you're going to help them get out of the way is extending that left side up, feeling that left leg straighten out, keeping the arms tight to the body as you come through, right arm into the right side, and that's going to really help the hips clear out the way. So now the arms will just extend through. I know a lot of you get stuck on impact, you don't get the hips out of the way. So, these are key things that you need to get right. Let's go outside and check it out then and give you some drills to work on. So the release is basically the unhinging of the wrists, because in your backswing your wrists are going to hinge and you're going to get this angle here. Some people call that lag. And all we're trying to do is we're going to try and get that to unfold naturally and straighten out on the way down. Because what that release does, it accelerates the club head, but it also squares the face on the ball. And if you do it properly, you don't have to manipulate. That's the worst thing you could possibly do coming down. If you're trying to manipulate the club to square it up, you're going to be really inconsistent. So I want to teach you about the release, how to do that properly, and then how the GForce swing trainer is actually going to help you identify any problems with your release. So it's the uncocking of the wrists, accelerating the club head, and it's the squaring of the club face, so it's going to do it naturally for you. So basically what we're looking for, once we've done that transition, we're coming into the downswing. I talked in the previous video about pulling the club down, shifting the weight forward at the same time, shoulders closed or back to the target, whatever works good for you. Then we get into this position here. The wrist is still fully cocked. I can feel my right elbow into my right side, and now I'm ready for the release. So what happens now, everything reverses. So at the start of the backswing, as I talked about, we had the left side going down, right side extending up. So what actually happens now, we're in position is the opposite. We have the left side extending up and then the right side going down, and then we see that with all of the good players out there. And that extending up and pulling up on the club, I talked about twirling the ball around on a piece of string, how I feel like I'm pulling in the opposite direction of the ball, and we're doing that
on the release as well. So the whole left side is pulling up, extending up, and I'm also pulling up on the grip, because what that actually does, it takes me from this position where everything's loaded up properly, wrists are fully hinged, and now because I'm extending up, it causes the wrist to uncock and the club head to release down towards the golf ball. So we never try and hit down or stay down. It's actually the opposite. We're trying to extend up. So as we push up from the ground here, from the left side, that's going to cause the uncocking of the wrists. And that's why you never want to try and, lock these wrists, because we need them to naturally unhinge, which is going to square that club face up as well. So if you watch a couple of these swings here, you'll see that. Get to the top and then extend up. You'll feel a lot more club head speed as well. Let's do that at the ball. So it really feels like I am sort of pulling up as I go through. The whole left side's extending up. What that does as well is this left leg straightens, really helps your hips snap open as well. So you can see that from this position. It's helping my hips clear. A lot of you will tend to keep that knee flexed too much. You're hitting down and you get stuck. You get in the way of yourself as you're coming into the ball. So you've got to let that extend up so you can release it. So as we're keeping the back to the target, pulling the club down, okay, now we're in a position to rotate, like the ice skater analogy I talked about, because the arms are close into the body, it's going to allow us to rotate better. Once we start rotating, we can go much quicker if we're keeping everything tight in, just like the ice skater. If everything's wide out, you're going to struggle to turn out the way, and that's why you're going to get chicken wings and stuff, because you're too wide, you've got too much weight back, you're losing all your lag on the way down. Yeah, so once we're in that slot, it's from here that you turn. Okay, you got the arms tight in like the ice skater, you got the left side posting up, extending up, arms tight in, left side starting to extend. Now it's so much easier to rotate the hips, a lot easier. So we pull down, that's the feel, and then the left side extends up, and then the club releases down, and the wrists unfold naturally. So where this is going to help is if you're not getting that release right. Okay, because everybody's trying to force the club through with the body or pushing the grip through. And then the problem with this shaft, because it's so flexible, if you're doing that, the shaft's going to backload too much and the face is going to stay open. So when we release properly, so when you're down here, as the wrists start to unfold and the club head accelerates through the proper sequencing, the hands and arms actually start to slow down. And that's really important, because most of you don't do that. You accelerate in the hands and you keep accelerating too long. That's the problem. So you never get the snap at the bottom, you never get the release. So you always have to compensate. So if you keep accelerating your arms with this club, the shaft will just stay backloaded and the face will be open, so you'll miss to the right. So the best drill to do with it is what are called stoppers. So you're going to hit balls and literally feel like you're stopping about halfway through. So what that's going to do, it's actually going to help your hands and arms slow down. And then as they're slowing down, it's forcing the club head to release and the face is squaring. And also the shaft is going from this loaded up position, and then because your arms are slowing down, it's able to then kick and unload. When it kicks and unloads, the club accelerates more, but the face squares up. So if you find you're missing to the right, then you're accelerating too long in your downswing, you're keeping going, whereas you've actually got to decelerate a little bit. And that's why these stoppers are good. I think of Tommy Fleetwood when he swings, you know, he almost looks like he's cutting it off a little bit short, and that's a great drill to do with this club. Because you get the proper release, arm slow down, wrist on cock, face squares up, shaft unloads, and that's everything that what you want with this club. And once you've mastered the release, you just get pulled into the finished position anyway, because it's all the momentum from the club pulling you through into position. You know, if you've done everything right in your takeaway, your backswing, your transition, your release, the finish is just you're freewheeling, and all you're looking for as you're coming into that finish just to be nice and balanced really.